Let me just tell you a little story about why it's so important and why where we're standing right now is such a significant moment in time. So, just so building off of where Sasha was starting, if you look at the history of media in the 20th century in the United States, you have these key moments where new technologies come along and they open new opportunities for people to become involved in mass media. In the age of the newspaper in the late 19th century, you basically had to be a newspaper publisher to have your voice mass mediated. Or you had to have permission from the newspaper publisher to be published in the newspaper. And then they developed this technology called radio. And if you go back and you read all the commentary in the newspapers about radio, it's all very utopian. This is a technology that's going to break down the barriers of access to the mainstream media. This is going to be the first ever technology that allows real people to talk to other people, multi-point to multi-point. Everyone's going to have a radio. Everyone's going to be a broadcaster. It was a decade in the 1920s of experimentation, not unlike what we've seen in the internet space in the last 10 years. And then something happened which we now recognize very well. You folks realize you can make a lot of money with the radio. And they came to Washington and said, well, this radio thing is getting out of hand. We're going to have to put some laws around this. We're going to have to make some policies. We're going to have to rationalize how it works. And so they created the Federal Communications Commission, and they created the radio rules, essentially allocated the licenses, and they created a concentration of power in the radio industry. And all that talk about democratization, all that talk about using radio to break open the mainstream media went away. So fast forward to the late 1940s, early 1950s, this brand new technology called television. It's going to revolutionize the way the media works. It's going to democratize the way the media works. No longer do you have to have permission from the newspaper publisher or the radio broadcaster to have your voice mass mediated, and it's all going to be video. It's going to be revolution. And then they realized, you can make a lot of money in television. And there was this policy moment, and they came to Washington, and they shaped the way the television licenses work, and it was a lot like the way radio works, except there were fewer to hand out. And we all know how that ended up. And then in the 1970s and 80s, there was this new technology called cable. And you get the idea. We're in that moment now for the internet. Yes. It's right now. Mm-hmm. And we have certain advantages with the internet which we didn't have before, which is that they're late to the game. And by they, I mean the folks looking to lock down the internet and to turn it into a centralized form of commerce that's controlled by gatekeepers. They're late to the game, and the technology works against that. It defeats that effort to control. And people are participating in the internet in such enormous numbers, and it's become such a platform for innovation and speech that it's hard to control. And it also has the benefit of simultaneous communication. And this is where I'll loop back around to where I started. You can participate in the future of the internet, and you can learn about it like that. And you can use the internet as a tool to make your voice heard in policymaking circles. And you can, right now, capitalize on the energy and the enthusiasm of using technology tools as means to participate, like we saw in the Obama campaign. We can translate that into government so that artists are no longer on the receiving end of these paradigm-shifting moments in mass media technologies. You're no longer waking up after 10 years and saying, damn it, we had that radio thing and then it got away from us. We had that television thing and then it got away from us. This internet thing, we have it right now. And this is the moment where it either gets away or we keep hold of it. And there are a wide variety of policy issues that sound wonky and complex and sound like that conversation killer about telecommunications law and policy. But those are the things that matter the most right now. That's where the rubber meets the road. Those decisions are going to be the points on which the future of the internet is shaped.
Wow. And that was